yoga practice has more than just a physical piece to it. And so I'd like us to just sit back in our chairs, take a moment to close our eyes. Just begin one of the most important parts of this practice, which is to breathe. And I like to say when people are like, oh, I can't do yoga because, and they give me a reason, and I say, well, if you can breathe, you can do yoga. So this breath, we call this pranayama in yoga. And when we begin to practice some breath control and some breath exercises, then we have a lot of power uniting with our life force or our prana. So as we're here this morning, let's take a few nice deep inhale breaths. Let the breath come into the nose, fill up the belly, the ribs, and your chest. And let your exhales be full as well. So you're going to draw the navel back towards the spine and just really exhale all the breath out. And just keep trying to create more space with your breath. And as you're breathing, I'm just going to share with you a couple of really important pieces of this practice, and you can just listen and breathe. So the Yoga Sutras, which is kind of like the Yoga Bible, Patanjali tells us about the 8 limbs of yoga, and the first 2 are the yamas and the niyamas, and within those are 5 pieces. And we'll just go through them quickly this morning, but maybe you can keep a couple of these in mind. Maybe they'll stick with you in our time that we're away from each other, until we can come back again. So the 5 yamas are ahimsa, non-harming. So this applies to you in your life as well as to others. You want to act in a way that's non-harmful to yourself and to others, both verbally, physically, mentally, emotionally. The next one is satya, honesty. Just being truthful with who we are and how we live our lives and truthful to others. Asteya, non-stealing or non-possessiveness of other people's things or stealing their thunder. Brahmacharya, which is moderation of your energy. So you're aware where your energy is going and if that's a helpful place for it to be, and you're willing to pull back and take care of yourself as well. Aparigraha, non-possessiveness. Similar to asteya, but asteya is actually just not stealing it. Aparigraha is losing that attachment to the things of life. Then we move to the niyamas, saucha, which means purity. These are more your personal actions. So we look to cleanliness to be an important part of our life. Santosha, contentment. That's a tough one. Can we be content in life circumstances? Tapas, self-discipline. I know you guys are good at this because you show up every week for your practice. What does that look like when, maybe we're not committed to the once a week on at 9 a.m. on Wednesday? What will your self-discipline be that serves you well? Svadhyaya is self-study, so important. Just learning about yourself at any age, learning more about who you are, what's made you who you are. If you are still in agreement with those stories that maybe have taken place in your life. And then finally, we come to Ishvara Pradhyana, which is surrender. And whatever that means to you, whether you serve a higher power such as God or the universe or chocolate cake, whatever it means to you, learning to surrender to something that you see as greater than yourself and kind of putting the ego aside. Such important pieces of this yoga practice. And we just move the body to and breathe to open up to make room for all the rest of the beautiful pieces of yoga. Take a few more breaths here. I'll encourage you guys to start using meditation if you don't already as well in your practice, in your self-discipline. All right. Well, one of our favorite parts is moving the body. This is called the asana practice. So we're going to go ahead and open the eyes, come forward on our seats a little bit. And today we will use our strap. I should have said that in the beginning. So if you didn't bring it to the practice, maybe take a moment to go get it. And then also making sure just that you have plenty of room to move about here. Root your feet down. Root your sit bones down. Now we can move the flesh just gently out of the way to find those sit bones, but you don't want to yank those muscles and flesh out of the way. Just a nice little pull will do. And then notice how we can be a little slumped over, or we can begin to lengthen and straighten up the spine. So I kind of think of this as like if somebody had a string and they're trying to pull me up from the top of my head, what would that feel like? And you can just see how you can lengthen. And when you do, you feel the belly begin to engage. What can sometimes happen is then our chest pops out. So we want to make sure we don't do that. So a good way is feel your low ribs and pull the low ribs back. And when you pull the low ribs back, oof, big core engagement, but we're still sitting up nice and tall. Now we've got great posture, and use this when you're standing as well. Good. Let's warm up the neck, chin down towards the chest. Take 2 breaths. Maybe even a sigh through the mouth if you need it this morning. Good. Roll the right ear towards the right shoulder. Grab the chair with your right hand, so underneath the seat of the chair. Good. Now, if you feel good, grab underneath the left. Keep the right ear heavy towards the shoulder. Keep holding onto the chair if you can. If you need to let go, absolutely. Remember that first one, non-harming. So if it doesn't feel good, we don't do it. Good. Drop the chin back to the chest now with the hands gripping under if you can. And then move it to the other side, left ear to left shoulder. This is one of the hardest ones for me to grasp in the beginning of my yoga practice because I had been physically active as a runner and doing like extreme activities that involved a lot of jumping and plyometrics. And it really hurt my body, but I would do it anyways. That was not good. Go ahead, drop the chin towards the chest. Good. And then just give an extra squeeze. So could you pull a little harder on the bottom of that chair and activate your muscles? And now just draw your shoulders gently onto your back. So shoulder blades go onto the back, and you'll just feel a little opening around the front of the chest, maybe the front of the shoulders. I'm pulling my elbows kind of back, so my inner elbows are towards the front. Good, that's enough activation. Relax the arms, let go of the chair, bring your head up, and just shake it out a little bit. Good. Now I do find that even for myself, sometimes my fingers, as I'm getting a little older, get a little sore in the morning, a little arthritic maybe. So one thing we can do for that is simply start to make fists, but I'd like you, I don't know if this translates well on the camera, but to think of it as pointer, middle, ring, and then pinky, and then coming into a fist. So we're kind of sparkling the fingers here, okay? So just round through the fingers. And if you find it to be a little much, make smaller movements. You don't have to come into a deep fist right to start with. And then if you're feeling coordinated enough, this one's kind of funny, start to round the wrists while you're doing it. All right? Now try not to look at your hands because you'll get all mixed up. Try to round your wrists the other way and still keep those fingers going. So this is good activation for the brain stuff, the brain matter. Good. Now, could you keep all of this going, pick a direction, and start to move in a circular way your right arm long in front of you. And then bring it back. Good. How about the left arm? Oh, so my brain does not work on the left side as well. This one's a challenge for me. Good. Bring it back. Still rotating the fingers, rotating the wrists. Bring both arms out, rotating the wrists, making those fingers flutter in and out. Nice and slow. Come all the way out. What about up overhead? Keep it going. Keep it going. Good. At the top, stop. And just begin to bring one arm down as you fist. And then switch. So I want you to pretend there's a rope and you're climbing up the rope. And now we'll bring some side body stretch into it. So really reach in the right side, pull down the rope. Reach up with the left side, pull down the rope. You can slow it down to articulate the movement and the stretch now. Good. Open the fingers, close the fingers. Reach, open, close, pull. Now, start to activate the muscles as though you're really doing it. So right now I'm really not, I'm just making the action, but now I can start to pretend and really pull. You see my bicep pop out? Yeah. You want to pull it down. Good. So you want to find that activation. We don't need weights. We can do this ourselves. Good. Couple more. Ooh, yeah, maybe a bigger stretch on these last few. Nice work, guys. Go ahead and just come back to seated. Maybe shake the arms and wrists around a little bit and let it all go. Oh, they should feel like new fingers now, maybe. Good. We'll take a deeper side stretch here. Right hand comes underneath the chair. Attention into your left hip and sit bone because it's going to want to come up, and we're going to squish it down towards the chair. Reach the left arm up, and then as you're pressing that left sit bone down, think of a tent stake that you're pulling and pushing down into the ground. Then we reach up and over. Caution not to collapse into your chest here. So if you feel like you've rounded a little bit, better to come up higher and stay open. So you only reach as far as you can before that kind of rounding happens. We do enough rounding as we age. We don't need to accentuate that. We want to do the opposite and open. Good. Now let's switch to the other side. Both arms will come up, up, up. And then left hand finds the chair. Attention to your right sit bone. And then lean to the left. So what I'd like to maybe notice is there a bit of a pull up my side body here from my hip? If I'm letting my sit bone rise, I'm not going to feel the hip part of it. Maybe I just feel from my ribs up. So I want to make sure not to miss this beauty. Good. Come all the way up. And then bring your hands together at the top and just slowly lower your hands down to your heart. Very nice. Just take a moment here. You can close your eyes. Maybe even just thinking about those yamas and niyamas that I read to you, and does one or two of them speak to you as something that maybe you'd like to work on cultivating more in your personal life or in your practice? Very nice. Release the hands down to the lap, flutter the eyes open, work the feet out a little bit wider, and begin to make a circle here. We're just going to spiral around, doesn't matter which way you begin, because we'll do about 5 or 6 one way and then go the other way. And so you want to make sure that you hit the back side here as well. I'm just kind of rounding. And you can let your head follow if that feels good. If it doesn't, keep it just steady. Might make you dizzy to watch me on the screen, so maybe pick a spot on the floor you're going to watch. Go the other direction. Good. Coming back to the center, hands onto the thighs, and begin your round of cat-cow. Now we're going to work on making sure our breath guides the movement. So let's just breathe here for a moment without moving. Just feel your breath, find your inhale. How long is it? Try to make an equal exhale. Maybe use Ujjayi breath so you can hear your breath. That helps as well. Pay a lot of attention to your next exhale because we're going to move on the next inhale. Sweep it forward, chest comes through, gaze comes up. Next exhale, when it starts, you begin to move around the spine. Bring your chin down towards your chest. Don't move again till the inhale breath comes, and then slide and glide up the spine. Shoulders down the back. And when the next exhale comes, round, belly button to spine, up through the spine, shoulders apart. Good, so we're just following our personal breath, whatever length that is, probably different than mine. If it helps you to really tune into the breath, make sure you can close your eyes down here. And if it's too scary to close the eyes while moving, maybe keep them half open. And we have 2 energy channels that are on each side of the spine, one on each side. And I won't go too much into that, but when we begin to open up the spine, instead of leaving it so compressed and tight, we also begin to open those channels for the energy to move more freely. So this is one that's really good. I hope that you'll incorporate some cat-cows into your daily life, even if it's just first thing in the morning as you're getting out of bed and you take about 4 or 5 rounds of cat-cow. Open up the spine, open up those energy channels. Good, let's come back to sit up nice and tall. Good. Just roll your shoulders out a couple times here and see if you feel any crunchy or hear any crunchy in the shoulders. Go the other way. Good. Heel toe those feet back into the center so you have a nice base of support, and let's go ahead and get our strap. We're going to use the strap to open up the shoulders and chest, and I just want you to be mindful always if you're using a yoga strap that there's this metal piece at the end. You don't want to bang yourself in the head with it or whatever. You can also, as you know, use a scarf or a dog leash or a belt or whatnot. So the first thing I want to do is come to Gomukhasana arms. I don't know that I've taught this to you guys online. Maybe I have. But for the sake of being able to see it, I'm going to turn to the side. You stay right where you're at. All right. So let's start with the left arm because that way you can see it on the camera a little bit better. So what I want to do is bring my left arm, and I want this strap to fall behind me. Bring my left arm up nice and tall, and then bend the left elbow, but keep the elbow nice and lifted. And what I'll do is reach up with my right hand. Maybe I'll turn sideways here a little bit so you can see, and just gently encourage it back and forward a little bit. And you might feel a little stretch coming down into the armpit, front side of the shoulder. What we don't want to do is round, so keep it nice and open chest, okay? All right, so now you see how my left arm is. I'm going to turn back this way to show you what we do with our right arm. Comes out to the side, and then we begin to sweep the right arm back behind. So I'm bending the elbow palm down, and maybe I'd like to see, where's my strap? If I could find the strap and hold it. I know we've done this one in person, but maybe not on camera because it's a little bit difficult. And so now if I can turn around and show you, this is what it looks like, if you can see that with my hair. And you can work your palm, right hand up the strap, as much as feels good here, as long as you're keeping your heart lifted. All right, and it's a nice big stretch, so breathe into it. And if at any point you feel some pinching in your shoulders, anything more than a nice ache, then start to come out of the stretch a little bit. Good, now the way we come out is slowly lower your right hand down that strap, and just relax the arm out, and then lift the left arm, and slowly bring it down. Let's bring that strap across our laps and give ourselves a great big hug, left arm over right. Breathe the shoulders up high, inhale. And then exhale, breathe the shoulders down low. Good. And just release, shake it out just a little. Nice, gentle, nothing crazy here. All right, let's try that other side. Big, big stretch here, so be careful with yourself. Be kind, non-harming. Okay, take your right arm up into the air and gently place that strap down your back. I'm going to put both sides down so you can see my face. Good. And then bend the elbow. And then reach up with the left hand and just start to encourage a little bit more stretch. So I'm kind of pulling gently a couple times that right elbow back and down. And I see that my right hand drops just a little further down my back. I'm going to try to maintain that as I release. So you can think of going arms straight out, then pivoting, rotating the shoulders with thumbs down, and then bend the elbow, hands down, reach it back, finding the strap, and then working your left hand up the strap as much as you can. Now if you do this enough, eventually maybe your fingertips will touch together and you wouldn't need the strap. Sit up tall, find your breath. So right elbow reaches high, left elbow reaches low. Couple more breaths. All right, nice job. Slowly let that left arm just kind of float down, let go of the strap. Reach the right arm up nice and tall and bring that strap down onto the lap. Stretch the arms out. Good, right arm over the left. Give yourself a great big hug. Inhale, lift the shoulders, exhale, release them. Nice job. Slowly relax them and shake it out. Beautiful. Okay, so we're coming back to the strap. If those arms get a little tired, you can give a little less effort. If they're not feeling much, you know, give a little more effort. So we'll start with our grip about equal to shoulder distance apart. So we don't have a very wide grip, and we are going to be moving out the strap as we move. So you want to go ahead and hold the strap kind of in the middle here of your body. And then inhale, take the arms up. Today I want you to notice, right when we get to the top, if you're lifting your shoulders up and reaching, drop the shoulders down away from the ears. Okay, so be very mindful of that. And then just pulse a few times, pulling those arms back, and feel the stretch maybe down into your armpits, right? We're pulsing it out. Hold as far back as you feel comfortable, just for a few breaths. So I'm back behind the head. All right, now bring it back to center here and slide your hands a few inches out. So now I'm a little bit wider than my shoulders. Grip that strap again and pull, but bend the elbows just a little bit. So I'm kind of bringing the strap down behind the head into cactus style arms. I can pull the shoulder blades onto my back more and elbows back if that feels good. Awesome. Remember, we've talked about if you're getting that kind of rounding in as you age, this is basically counteracting that as we open through the chest and the collarbones. Let's go ahead and inhale, reach the arms up. We'll take a little pause to give your arms a break. Keep your hands on the strap where they're at. Just relax your arms. You can wiggle them out a little bit. Good. Whew. On the inhale, take that strap long and up overhead again. Now we're going to keep it right about over the head as we pull the right strap down to the right and the left strap up to like the left corner of the room, stretching out the side body. Keep your elbows soft. So if you notice you're hyperextending and locking out to get more traction, just soften the elbows a little bit, or even if they're bent, that's fine. Good. Now I want you to find a little tug of war today. Left arm pulls, right arm pulls down. Left arm pulls up, right arm pulls down. 2 more times. Lift up, pull down, pulling up, pulling down. Oof, my arms are warm. Bring it back to the center. If you need a break, go ahead and drop the strap for a minute. Otherwise, we're going to hold here at the top. Find a little tension on the strap with the shoulders down the back. All right. If you took the break, come back up to the top when you're ready, and then hinge from your hip, keeping your right sit bone down, hinging to the left, finding tension on the strap between the left hand pulling down and the right arm pulling up. And then find that bit of tug of war. Bigger pull up at the top on the right hand, bigger pull at the bottom on the left. Just a couple of times. Maybe you're extending fully through that right arm as you pull up. Like you're flossing. I just came up with that. It kind of feels like a big piece of floss. All right, nice job. Come back to the center and lower down. Keep your hands on the strap. Roll your shoulders a couple times. All right, the upper body's gonna feel amazing after all of this, guys. All right, so, and you might be a little sore tomorrow if you're putting a lot of tension on the strap, because we're also activating those muscles. This is the next one we're going to do is lift it up nice and high, again being mindful of where your metal piece is. We're going to come out really wide on the strap. If you can come out to where your arms stretch way out, almost straight out to the sides, perfect, depending on the length of your strap. And then we've got that tug, so you want some energy put into it, pulling the strap away from each other. And then simply rotate to the left through your torso, belly button to the left. Good, good. Back to center, rotate to the right. We're going to do this a couple of times, kind of windmilling each direction, seeing if we can keep our hips steady, our knees in perfect alignment. The opposite knee is going to pull out just a little bit, but don't let it go far. Okay, let's do one more each direction. Just see if you can really find the beautiful twist here, as long as your spine is allowing for it. Watch that those arms just stay where they're at. Just move your torso. Ah, fantastic. That feels so good. Come back to the center, and then just drop the strap down. Ah, perfect. All right, guys, you can go ahead and release. the strap from behind your back, or if you dropped it down in front, and place it around the ball of your right foot. Excellent. Once you've got it there, just stretch that leg out and hold, like you were taking hold of some reins here, the horse reins, and then press into the strap. Good. Strap is coming in both parts into the right hand and left hand to the hip or the chair for support. Set up tall. If you want, you can just have your heel on the floor. You don't have to have your leg in the air. And then just slide that leg open to whatever degree you can while maintaining your hip bones facing forward. So if I start to maybe lose that, I start to turn like this and come back around. Beautiful. And then gliding that right leg all the way back to the center. Bend the knee, set the foot down, pull the strap off, place it on the left foot. Don't worry if you weren't as graceful as that. I have a lot of practice. But get the strap onto the left foot and extend the leg. Now, don't lean back like this. Try to stay as upright as possible, using a little bit more strength in those arms and the press of the foot and the core muscles. Again, if that starts to feel like a lot, as we start to move that left leg out to the left, feel free to drop the heel down to the floor and just glide it across the floor. Otherwise, the leg can stay in the air any degree. Make sure you're not going to kick anything over. I have a glass of water over here. Nearly got it with my foot. Excellent. And back to center. Slow lower, bend the knee. Strap comes off. Good. We don't need this anymore. You can place it off to the side. Fantastic. How are you feeling? I feel like the upper body is pretty loose now. So we'll just work on that lower body a little bit here. We just started with that stretch. Now I'd like us to find a seated warrior. So just try to follow my directions here. We're going to take the right leg, right knee out to the right. Okay? Now you may mirror me or do the same. Just follow along the best you can. So right knee tracks to the right. Hold the chair for some support. We'll begin to turn the left bent knee as well and drop our sit bone a little bit off of the chair if we can, our left sit bone. So I'm really rooted on the right. My right hand's got the back of the chair. Slide your left foot back just a little bit. So maybe the knee is right underneath the hip or even maybe slightly behind the left hip. You might feel a nice big stretch right here in that left hip and your quad. The right foot is fully touching the floor, really grounded. The left foot, I'm up on my toes, but my toes are facing to the right. Okay? Good. So we'll breathe here. Maybe take the arm up into the air. If that feels good, keep the right hand holding your chair. Very good. See if you can lean a little to the right. I'm going to push my forearm down onto the back of the chair. Depending on the height of your chair, maybe you can do that too. So now I'm stretching all of this left side body out. Drop the knee low. All right. Come back, shoulders over the hip, and go ahead and release the left hand down for adjustment. So if this feels like a lot for you, you might stay, you might bring your knee forward. That's going to make it easier. And if you're ready to go to a warrior pose, we're going to start with warrior, coming into warrior 2 now. So I'm going to begin to lengthen that back leg. If I can find the length, then watch what happens. I'm still holding the back of my chair, but I turn my left hip to face towards the front while I drop my left heel down to the floor. So you see that? Little rotation, opens my hip. Wow, so this is a nice big stretch. This is called Warrior 2, and we've got the support of the chair. My front heel here is lining up about with my back arch. You can look down and see that. If I was feeling so inclined, I might send my left arm back, my right arm forward, or just hold the chair, which is perfectly fine, and then gaze over the right fingertips. So this is a big hip opener. If you need more hip opening, just push more into the back foot a little bit and draw this left hip back. You also want to draw your right knee open towards your right pinky toe. Ooh, think about peeling these hips open. Good. Slowly drop the hands down. Make sure you have your right hand supported on the chair somewhere. Turn your left toes back to the right. So you're on that ball of the foot again. Slide it in. Woo. And then move back to center. Now you can just take a breath. I can feel a huge difference in my left hip compared to my right at this point. So let's go to the other side. Sweep that left knee open. Good. Make sure you have a good grip on the back of your chair, and then begin to slide this right knee also to the left as you let your glute just barely touch the chair here or even fall off. Good. Nice grip with the left hand on the back of your chair. You can slide the knee right under the hip or slightly behind, getting this hip flexor quad stretch again. And it's hard to see, but I'm on the ball and toes of my right foot. My left foot is grounded down for my support. Lift the arm if that feels good. You can also keep it on your hip for support. Either way, we're going to hinge over towards the back of the chair. Good. Coming back to center it up, shoulders over those hips. Right arm comes down. Now we make the shift. I'm going to straighten the leg without locking my knee. So see, I went from bent knee to straight leg. Now, I might stay there if I'm feeling, ooh, that's a lot, or start to rotate my right heel to touch down as my right toes come back to face the front. Now I want to encourage my hip and my body to come back to the front. So open hips, pressing my left knee a little bit more open. You can even use your hand here to just kind of assist. And then both or one arm out. So if I'm holding the chair with my left hand, I might just pull this right arm back. Again, if you need to activate more, push down on your back foot and then kind of push down on the pinky side of your front left foot. Good. Hands back onto the chair and the hip. Turn the back toes around, drop the knee, slide it in, and rotate back to center. Woo! That should feel really good. All right. So that really pulls through opens up the hips, obviously the hip flexors, even the psoas muscle, which connects to the low back. So you might feel like your low back got a bit of a stretch there as well. Let's set the feet down nice and firm onto the floor. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Make sure your sit bones are grounded. We're taking forward fold. Exhale, let's fold over those legs. Lengthen the spine here instead of rounding. Drop your hands down to your legs, feet, or floor. And then drop the crown of your head down towards the earth. Let's take a few side breaths here in forward fold, which is calming our nervous system, bringing us to a more centered, safe space in our mind. Letting the body relax from its constant energy of go, go, go. One more breath. Then we slide the hands up the legs onto the thighs, elbows pressing towards the back of the chair, and round your way up one vertebrae at a time. So just slowly round up, then your shoulders will come over the hips eventually, and then the head will come up. Good. Now we were down there for a while, so make sure that the blood just kind of comes back down out of the head. And then we'll take a few sun breaths now, using the core, going into forward fold, half lift, forward fold, and then sweeping the arms up at the end, okay? So we start with the arm sweep, we end with the arm sweep. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, tuck the belly, lengthen the spine, set those sit bones onto the chair, and fold. Inhale, rise halfway, lengthen their spine. And exhale and fold, tuck your belly. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, release, and inhale, sweep the arms up. Good, let's do one more like that. Find it with your breath. Exhale to fold. When you're ready, inhale to lift half. Exhale to fold. Inhale to sweep the arms up. Beautiful, hands together at the heart center. Nice job. Take your right hand, drop it down to your left thigh. Take your left arm, reach it around to the back of your chair, and then slowly begin to rotate from the lowest space in your spine and belly, up into the mid-belly, mid-spine, towards ribs and chest. Look back over the shoulder if you can. Don't worry, don't take the twist too deep if it's too much. Good. Unwind back to your center. Take your hands back to your heart. Breathe. Relax your jaw. Smile a little. Left hand to right thigh, right hand to the chair. Long arms. Tall upper body. Rotate to the right. Unwind back to the center. Good. We'll come to standing for just a bit of balance. When we come to standing, if you guys don't practice much else, maybe the cat-cow and this one would be really good standing up well. So we practice that as if I'm going to stand. Make sure you get that pelvic floor activated, so that's that feeling like I'm going to stop the flow of urine. Pelvic floor, glutes, thighs back, shins forward, lift up. Good. Let's go ahead and come to our tree pose. I like to say you can even do this in line at the grocery store. You're waiting, you just grab onto the side of the, cart there, or it might roll maybe the side of the conveyor thing. And just pick a foot up, turn it out, and find a little bit of balance while you're there. You can just keep the toe down, heel over the opposite ankle. Now this is the outside leg away from whatever we're supporting on. Comes out. If I'm feeling a little bit more inclined to go for a bigger challenge, I'm going to pick that foot up. Now notice where my heel is at. It's underneath my knee. Here's your cues, guys, to make this work really well for you. Push the foot into the leg into the foot. Imagine an imaginary line up the middle of your body. Hug your hips to that line. Hug your core front to back, side to side to that midline. And then that pretend string lifting us up again. These are all keep us strong for our balance work. Next, we work with our gaze. So to stay steady, look at something in front of you, out towards the floor, that's not going to move. So hopefully your floor is not going to move. So that's a very good steady point. And then you can change the balance by letting go of the hand a little bit at a time, or looking forward, which will make it more difficult to balance, or looking up, which will make it the most difficult. Good, let's take just a couple more breaths here. That's a lot of cues to remember, a lot of things to activate and move and squeeze. When we get stronger, we find our stability. Good, a gentle hand to the chair if we took it off. The outer knee rounds around back to standing. Good. Now just take a moment to sway your hips a little side to side so that you get a little release. Good. Switch to the other side. You can turn around if you know the cues, or turn your chair around. Just don't hit your toes. Good. Standing on the foot closest to your support, your chair, and then finding your knee to come out, or maybe into the calf. Now if you work your way up into the thigh at some point, again, we're going to check the toes are over the knee, and then make sure this commonality to let the hip pop out then. slide that hip in and we're squeezing the midline no matter where we're at. Final thought for balance is strengthening the arches during our balance is just to push the toes in a little bit and lift the arch that you're standing up with as though there's like a little ladybug trying to live under your arch. You don't want to squish her. So you're just like leave the arch lifted. Good. About 3, 2, and 1. Hand back to the chair if we took it off. Round that outer knee around, and then shake the hips as you come back into standing mountain. Turn towards the back edge of your chair or walk around to the back edge of the chair. Step your way back such that you can bring your forearms onto the chair and have long spine. So I might have to put my chair forward or stretch back. So I want to have flat back, belly tone, head to the arms. Bend the right knee. Straighten the right leg, bend the left. Do it again, bend the right knee, straighten the left leg. One more time, straighten the right, bend the left. Press into the chair, straighten both legs. Come on up. Good. Now, you can return to the chair or come to the floor if you're using a mat, up to you. We're going to do our figure 4 stretch and then our Shavasana. And you can do the figure 4 on the floor or in the chair. So I'm going to demo very quickly in the chair, then I'm going to move the chair and come to the floor so that either way that you guys are choosing, you know what to do. So if I'm in the chair, that figure 4 is going to look like ankle to thigh, soft knee, hinging forward. That's your chair figure 4 stretch. If you're coming to the floor, maybe you're already there, great work. Come onto your back. In this case, the right ankle comes to the same place on the left thigh. I'll give you guys a second to get there, either chair or floor. But if you're on the floor, instead of hinging forward with the upper body, we bring the lower body to us. All right, it's the exact same movement as far as which muscles we're stretching. It's just one we're relaxing on our back, one we're relaxing in our chair. Now, if I am on the floor, there is one little addition I can make that I can't really do as well in the chair, and that is we've created this bit of a triangle here. You can stick your right arm in between the triangle and then grab onto your left shin or thigh to get a little bit deeper in the stretch. Take one more breath here. Really let go of any tension you're feeling in your glute or hip. Just let it be. Let it melt. Very good. If you're on the floor, let's take the foot back to the floor. If you're in the chair, lift your heart, come back to sit well, and unwind the feet and switch them out. So now the left foot, left ankle comes across to right thigh. Now if I'm on the floor, I might do as we do in the chair, still here, push my hand into my thigh and press that thigh away. Oh, yeah, feels so good. In the chair, hinging forward, on the floor, pulling legs in. Let's breathe. You can flex your left foot if you like. Now, if you're on the floor, you might be seeing that I move a little bit. I'm pretty flexible in general, so if that's you, you might have to move a slight bit with smooth movement, nothing jerky, to find the tightest spot so that you can breathe into that tight spot and loosen up where you really need to let go. All right, fabulous work, guys. And we'll release this pose from wherever you're at. All right, so we're going to come to our final resting pose now. If you're on the floor, feel free to move around a little bit. You can move your knees from side to side. If you're in the chair and you want to move out of your chair onto another surface like a bed or a couch, you can. Otherwise, just get comfortable in your chair as far as sit back, comfy. Some options on the floor to stretch the legs long, or to keep the knees bent, but then pull the feet out to the outer edge of the mat and then drop the knees together. That's going to take a lot of pressure off that low back. It might even feel like kind of a good little ache. Good. Let your arms float, relax them open, or if you're in the chair, let them just drop down or place them palm over palm, whatever feels good. Could you find some stillness right here in your body? Just be as relaxed and still as possible. And just scanning from the tip top of your head down through the body. If you find any place holding tension, stop, recognize it, without judging it as being bad that there's tension there. Just take a breath into that space. And just choose to let go a little bit more. You might not fully leave, that's okay. And just move around your body, finding spaces where you can soften more. Mentally moving through each space of the body. Just continue your relaxation. Follow your breath in and out through your nose. So I'm going to share one last thought in a poem that maybe I've even read to you before, but important to tie this all together about yoga before we part. It's from Dana Folds. Yoga is not about the pose. It's not the alignment of toes or hips or shoulders. It's not about the form. Yoga is an invitation to explore, not a command performance. It speaks the language of the soul. In the flow of breath and motion, yoga coaxes us from the confines of the known across the silent threshold into vastness. Yoga is the union of prayer and movement guided from inside. It is healing and the joy of saying yes to life. Breathe, relax, and feel the body receive its own truth. The seed of freedom flowers within each of us whenever we're open to what is real. Just breathe in all that is. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. As you feel ready, coming back around to seated. If you're on the floor, you might roll onto your side and then work your way up. If you're in the chair, maybe just come to sit nice and tall again. And once you join me back in that seated posture, we'll bring our hands together into Anjali Mudra, an act of gratitude. I'm certainly grateful for each of you and this time that we've been able to spend together, and I hope that we'll see each other again very soon. The light in me honors and salutes the light within each of you. Namaste. Okay, loves, stay in touch, and I will do the same. And who knows, maybe I'll pop a video up every now and then and send you the link or something if I'm feeling adventurous. But be well, be safe, be healthy. Thanks, Gail. Talk to you soon.